So many people will accept abuse in subjects, A, B, and C, but will get their needs met in D, E, and F. And even though the abuse is terrible in A, B, and C, they might even notice. And it's like, oh, right, D, E, and F are much more important to me. And to the point where it's like, as long as I get these needs met, I'll accept whatever misery elsewhere. And you see this with love languages. Now, if you are unfamiliar with the work of Gary Chapman, here's Steve's relatively good breakdown. 5 love languages: words of affirmation, time spent, physical touch, acts of service, and gift giving. Basically, they are ways of giving and receiving affection. Now, can you have more than one, primary love language? Technically, yes. But let's just say your love language is you really, really like physical touch. But let's also say you're married to someone who really likes gift giving. And maybe you don't care about gift giving. So your spouse is hooking you up with the gold and the jewels. And you're like, oh, that's nice. And they're feeling unappreciated because here they are doing all this crap for you. And you're feeling unappreciated because you're not getting any snuggles. That's like, right. Generally, we do want to align our love languages with our partner, as in, if my partner is unwilling to do this, why I'm hanging out with them in the first place. But if you want to keep them, you can say, even though we have different love languages, maybe we need to work on crossing borders and giving each other what we need in the way we have possible. So I hope that made sense. But you see this on the opposite end. If you really, really need words of affirmation, and your partner gives you those words of affirmation, but beats the hell out of you with his fists, maybe you're acting in a way like that is an acceptable trade-off. Maybe, I see this with my clients, where it's like, okay, you're saying this person does this, this, and this to you. Why are you with them? What actual need is being met? What actually is being conveyed? What value is being conveyed here? I had a client years ago who absolutely hated her husband. And her husband would humiliate her in public and insult her and engage in significant sarcasm and do some other things that I don't want to talk about on this stream. But Steve, we have a nice house together. He bought me a set of steak knives. Oh, he took me out the other day and we spent $300 on steaks. And it's like, right. Now, this is a person who grew up in not just poverty, but the threat of poverty, to the extent where material possession, or at least money, was the most important thing. It's like, okay, here's all this abuse. Here's all these things that other people would find completely unacceptable. But because this other need is being met, it evens it out. And in fact, because this is a need you have, maybe even a desperation need, it's like you're stuck there. You're not going to leave this guy until you either can make your own money, or you can say, you know what? It doesn't matter what amount of money it is. It doesn't matter what he does to me in regards to material possessions. If he treats me like crap, he treats me like crap. That's intrinsic. No amount of showing affection is going to make up for it. It also works the opposite. I had a friend who shacked up with some dude. Now, this friend is a hippie and I love her to death, but he was basically stealing from her and taking advantage of her stability. But she was like, okay, it's just money. It's just material possessions. So it's like, okay, you're allowed to have whatever view you have about money. But are you seeing that you're being taken advantage of? That this relationship is not reciprocal. It is not collaborative. It is not healthy. In fact, it seems like you're just throwing cash into a black hole to someone who's approaching you with ill intent. And it's like, right, but he dances with me and he's so spiritual. I'm like, yeah, that's not exactly the best look. But it also works for my dudes. And yes, we're a bunch of horn dogs, or at least I am. And they're like, there's that meme. I'm going to make sure the YouTube algorithm doesn't strike me too much. My bathing suit area will take me to places that I wouldn't go with a gun. And it's like, right, that's absolutely correct. Steve, I have this girl who treats me like crap, who abuses me, who yells at me, who steals my money, who doesn't do anything for me, in fact, insults me in the sarcasm, the mind games. But the bedroom Olympics are absolutely great. And it's like, right now you're viewing that as worth it. And I'm not going to challenge you on that yet, but let me know when you're ready to be challenged on that. And usually there's something deeper. Usually something like, I view myself as unattractive, unlovable, and here's this person who's showing love to me. I will engage in a sacrifice. I will allow myself to be treated like crap in order to get my need elsewhere met. And it's like, even in the best of relationships, there's going to be some friction. Arguments happen, that's okay. But to say, I need to engage in sacrifice in order to be loved is reprehensible and is wrong. And it needs to be changed yesterday. Now, I know it's easier for me as an outsider to say that, but we do need to go in and be like, hey, what does a collaborative relationship look like? Now, maybe our love languages aren't aligned. Maybe we're not, fully aligned in everything, but we generally are collaborative. We are generally healthy. Our communication is on point, or at the very least clear and coming from a place of honesty and taking the other person's best interests as your own. And if your current partner is unable to do that or unwilling, no amount of chocolates or words of affirmation or snuggles is going to make up for that. Intermittent reinforcement is basically gambling. It is running the craps table or, the whatever the pull machine is. If you pull the thing 1,000 times, you might get a couple cookies every so often. But when you do, it feels really, really nice. But if you work hard and just do an hourly wage, you can buy whatever cookies you want, which is fine, but it's less interesting. It is less of a dopamine hit, less of a happiness, less of an excitement. If you haven't gambled, don't, because it's a stupid addiction. But when it applies to relationships, especially abusive ones, it's something like, oh, this person who beats the crap out of me or treats me like crap or completely disengages, when this person does engage with me, when this person does give me a gift, when this person does give me some kudos or some snuggles, it feels so much better. And it's like, right, that sucks. That really sucks. One of the things that I really try to break people away from is the idea that your healthy relationship has to be this sparkle, intensity, and random spikes in the midst of misery. In fact, consistent and repeated love and affection might appear boring to you. It's not this random and chaotic thing. It's consistent. It's there. It's safe. Wouldn't that be nice, a relationship where you feel consistently and repeatedly loved in a safe way? I trust that this person's going to show me love and affection, not just on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday, but the rest of my life. Crazy, I know. Now, Steve, that sounds boring. Yeah, probably. Okay, so you understand the gambler thing. You understand how intermittent reinforcement really screws with your head and keeps you hooked to abusive people. But let's take this a little bit further. I have had so many people in toxic relationships come to me and say, when we're good, we're good. But it's just when we're bad. And I hate this. I hate this so expletiving much. It's like, yeah, maybe you're good 99% of the time, but that 1% is so reprehensible that it shouldn't exist ever. That 1% packs so much misery into it that no one who's treating himself like he loves himself would stay in that relationship. I guess to oversimplify this, let's just say I'm a saint 99% of the time. But every so often I do something criminal, reprehensible, Like, I don't know, murder a child. But you know what? I'm a good person the rest of the time. I, in fact, donate my time to charity and I put all this stuff into Goodwill and yada, yada, yada. And it's like, right. No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what good deeds you have. There are certain things in procedural justice where if you do them ever, you're gone. You will experience consequences, or at least you're supposed to. It's like, no, no, no. Just because we're good 99% of the time, 1% of the time is enough misery to cut the entire thing off. Now, Steve, clearly you don't understand. I'm more afraid of being alone than being in a toxic relationship. And it's like, yeah, let me know when you're willing to change that. Or at the very least, well, let me know when you're willing to change that and only demand healthy relationships, actual clear communication, actual honesty, no mind games on either side, and no sarcasm on either side, no personal attacks. And being like, oh, right, this is the thing that I want consistently and repeatedly forever, or at the very least for the rest of my life. Now, if you have trouble conceptualizing that, or you are caught up in a loop where you see yourself accepting BS that other people would never accept because your partner is meeting some other need, look at it. Just be aware of it. If you need some help on unenmeshing from that, let me know.